Greetings. This is your man, Nicholas Shephard of the Shephard Family Enterprise Business Administration Information Systems Consultants. And thank you for coming back and viewing our next segment of our business awareness for young African American business entrepreneurs and new business owners, okay, or departmental personnel who decide they want to create new features for their business. Okay. All right. So this is training day 8. Okay, and the topic is setting business goals for your new and current employees. Okay. There are 4 things that we're going to talk about. The first thing is, how do you go about establishing what is most important for your business and establishing goals and tasks to your new team? The second thing we're going to go over is, what are the skill sets, okay, of each member? What are their comfort levels, and how do you deal with these strict deadlines? All right. The third thing is resetting new goals to prevent future time loss or project assignments, and adding additional training material for members of your teams to ensure that they get up to speed. And the fourth thing is rewards and reassignments for team members for either meeting or exceeding goals performances or continued shortcomings of meeting goals set over a period of time that is previously set for all project team members. Okay? All right. So, the first thing we're going to talk about again is, how do you go about establishing what is important for your business and establishing goals and tasks for your team. All right. So, the first thing you want to identify is, you have already established, okay, what type of company, right, that you want. All right. You already have set goals, right, for your company, so you have a vision. You already written out a list of principles that your business will stand by, and you have established an alliance, okay, with either a business person or a business partner or individuals who want to get involved in working with you in your new organization. Now, the first thing that comes to mind is that you already know your vision for your business, and you want your business to succeed. You want your business to grow, and you want your business to grow in a time period or at a pace that you have already predefined. So you already have goals that you want to have. You already have goals that you want to meet, and you already set a timeline that you have established that you want to be either 3/4 of the way to that goal or have that goal completed. Right? Now, if you fall short of that goal, you want to find out, okay, what was the reason why we did not meet these expectations? And you would document these things. You would document and say, okay, we did not meet these goals because of this. You will list out why you did not meet these goals, okay? And you'll write them out. And when you have your meeting, you will go over these different things and find out how can you go about making sure that goals are met. Now, when you have your meeting, this meeting isn't a session to point fingers or say, well, this person, we need to find out what can we do to make things run a lot more smoother, and how can we break things down even further to make sure that goals are met more easily. All right. So you meet with your team members and you establish, okay, here we are. We're in a situation. We have this project. Let's say we have a project from a very important vendor, and it's a new project, and let's say that they want to they about to establish a new department for their company. All right. And they say, okay, well, we want to bring you on. You're a new business. We looked at your business plan. You seem to have things working, so we want to throw you a shot and see what you're going to do. Okay, we're going to give you a small project. Okay, the project shouldn't take no more than 3 months. All right. And 3 months is kind of long, right, for them to deal with a new entrepreneur. All right. But it can happen, right? Sometimes what they do, they will add your new business into a service, right, that's already established, and then that manager would dictate what your services would be for their company, and they will monitor your company's performance, right, on a trial basis. All right. So now you are sitting in a conference room and you're gathering information from your client. You want to make sure you get enough information from your new client so that when you go back to your team or the personnel that's working with you, you want to make sure there's not a lot of questions, all right? Because one thing that a business owner or a project manager of another organization, or the organization personnel department that is designed to bring in new contracts, for you to keep calling back asking questions. All right. So you have to have a well-structured plan. How you're going to go about dealing with these new customers. All right. And you need to find out what would it take for you to satisfy your customer. What is the end result? Right. So you take this information back to your team. You say, okay, listen, we had a contract. This is the time. We got to be here at this time. All right. We need everybody here 45 minutes prior, okay, to being at the location. Right. If you're not able to make it, we need to know in advance, all right, that you're not going to make it, so that we can find someone to either replace you or someone can stand in for you. All right. These are the objectives. These are the outlines you must describe to your team way in advance. They must be able to identify the fact that, okay, this is what is expected of me. So I have to be responsible enough to be able to contact the person that is assigning these tasks, okay, and let them know well in advance that, listen, I'm not going to be able to make it, so they can find a substitute for you. Now, it's bad judgment or a bad thing to do is for them to call you the day of, right? That's kind of, that's not good. But if it does happen, all right, you must have a plan B. So someone should be able to take up the slack. So therefore, if you have an assignment and this one individual is assigned to do that particular task, and that person calls you and say, listen, I cannot make it, all right, there should be someone to have the knowledge to be able to take on that responsibility, okay, until that person is available. Maybe that person may come in late, or maybe that person may come in the next day, whatever. But there must be some type of execution or some type of plan so that that individual absence will not impact the overall performance of what you are trying to do or the image you're trying to portray to your client. Okay? So now you establish the rules, the ground rules for your team. Right? We haven't even got into anything as far as, IT or application development. We're just talking about building a business mindset, okay, for your team. So building a business mindset for your team is getting them to understand the administrative part of doing business, right? It doesn't matter what their profession is or what they went to school for, or anything like that. It's keeping a professional outlook on everything that they do, so that when problems occur, we can handle it together and resolve them. Okay? So now you have identified the ground rules. You have assigned each individual their tasks. Now everyone has an understanding. You write them out, right? You have to write out exactly what you want your team to do. Everyone have to have a description of everyone's task. It shouldn't be like, okay, this is what you do. No, everyone should know what everyone is supposed to be doing, so that if there's any questions, then you can go to that individual, all right, and ask that individual question. You don't want to go ask 4, 5, 6 different people, well, how do I do this? You want to know the person that has the most experience in that situation, so that individual go directly to that person and get results as fast as they can without causing any type of delays. Okay? So now the next thing we're gonna go over is, what are the skill sets, okay, of each member? What are their comfort levels, and how do they deal with strict deadlines? There are a lot of business-minded people when there's no deadline, or they're in a relaxed state and there's no pressure and their feet is not against the fire, they can give you all the answers, right? Because they have time to think about it. But when there's strict deadlines, they start out one way, and then as the deadline comes closer and closer and closer, sometimes there are individuals that panic. So what you need to do beforehand is to find out who is proficient in what. You can base it on past performances, what they did in the past. You can look at their previous job performances on other jobs they have held. You can look at their education, their experience. These are the things you can base who you put in these very strict deadline positions. Who will be in charge, okay? If there is a strict deadline and the deadline is coming to a closure, you may have to move individuals around, okay, to make sure you put the solid thinkers in front, the persons who can think under pressure in front. It's not that you're relieving anyone. You could say, okay, in phase 1 of the project, let's say Alan's going to be in charge, right? As we get closer to into the quarter project, Bill is going to be in charge, right? So, and then in the third part, when you get closer to the deadline, right, 3/4 of the project, we're going to put Victoria in charge, right? And then the closing, you will put Richard in charge, right? Because Richard has experience to dealing with high impact performance and closure and any type of stress that needs to be or any job or any responsibility that needs to be handled right away to get things. He can think under fire, okay? And he know how to organize the team and rearrange everyone so the job gets done. This is what you need to establish beforehand, so each individual know that, listen, I'm not being reprimanded. This is the level of my commitment. I know that if I'm under pressure, my project leader is not going to put me in a position where I'm going to fail. He knows. You have, as a business leader, you have to understand where to put people and at what time you need to establish the fact that, well, listen, this person's going to go here. Okay? We put this person here to move the project forward. It's not a reprimand. It's not saying that this person's not doing a good job. You just need the project moving. All right? You need the project moving forward at a pace that you can meet deadlines. Okay? Now, let's assume that there is a position, right, and the person falls short of the deadline. Okay, let's say, Richard, all right, he's not, hey, listen, we're going to have to do some scope creep. We're gonna have to push the project out some because financial reasons, material, whatever the reason may be, he have a meeting with you and he said, listen, this is what needs to be done. This is what's going to happen. We're reaching, the deadline is next week, okay? And we're still waiting on material, or we still waiting, we still coding, or we still gathering information. We got to go to the state. We need to get licensed. It's going to take this much time to get licensed. We need to get these other contracts involved. We got to hire new people. These are the setbacks, okay? Now, you may plan everything, exactly the way it is, set out, the way you have written it out. But the point is, there are always going to be problems, okay? There's always going to be problems. There's going to be misinterpretations of what the ground rules are. So you must be able to meet with the management, okay, of the company that you're working with, and explain to them. Don't wait till the last minute. You'll talk to them. You'll walk up to them or meet with them, and say, listen, okay, we're going to have to push the project, back, and this is the reason why. Okay, we have to push the project back because these are the things that we have not considered, okay? Or these are the people that we met with in the beginning of the project, and they still have not given us the information that we needed, okay? There's additional paperwork that we had to file. We have to do this. Or, especially when you're dealing with legal, okay, we got to get these forms signed. We got to meet with the attorney. We got to do this. These are things you need to bring up to, okay, your to your client, right? Laws change, restrictions change, revisions are in place. Each year, they may have 4 or 5 different revisions of code, right? That's passed through either the state or city or local governments. You may start out doing one thing, right? Because in the code, of the city code ordinance, it says this. But then you may start at your project before the vote, right? After the vote, they change the ordinance, change the restrictions, and you go back in, so listen, well, the ordinance changed. Now you have to do this. Now, sometimes they will work with you on that, okay? But if that's not possible, then you have to go back to your client and describe the situation to them so that they have a full understanding what's going on, okay? So, and you have to let them know in advance, all right? Don't wait till the last minute. You must constantly have someone researching, finding out information, doing follow-up calls, find if anything changed, if you're dealing with computer systems, if there are any patch releases coming out, any revisions, if anything outdated, they're going to discontinue certain things. You must keep this in constant view of your vision, okay, or with your vision, okay? Okay, now, the third thing we're going to talk about is resetting new goals to prevent future time loss on project assignments and adding additional training material for members of your team to ensure that they get up to speed. Okay, so what I mean by resetting new goals to prevent future time loss on project assignments and adding additional training material for members of your team to ensure they get up to speed, I'm basically saying that once you finish one project, or let's say that you started a project and you know another project is about to start, okay, you already know what the shortcomings were, right? So in order to get everyone up to speed, the ones who you feel that need more information or need more training, you as the business leader must find material to show this individual, right? and explain to them, listen, I want you to go through this training material, okay, or these videos or whatever, and I want you to write out what is your understanding of this. Find out, based on the project we have worked on, what you could have done better. All right, and then we're gonna have a meeting, and I want you to explain to me what you've done and what you could have done better based on the information that you learned. Now, you don't want them to say, okay, well, anything. Okay, listen. You know, you have to be exact. You have to be very direct. You have to know exactly what is going on and give them a solution. Okay, you don't want room for excuses, because excuses cause bitterness, right? When they're giving you excuses and you trying to rebel with their excuses, and it goes back and forth, and then people start feeling like, well, he's saying that I'm a screw up. No, you just give them a solution, right? Give them the resources to resolve the solution, and put it in their lap. Okay. Now, if they don't come up with a solution, right, during the next project, then you have to establish what you're going to do with that team member when the next project come along. Okay. Now, when you are working with a team member that have not met expectations, you have to be very direct with this person, right? You can't assume that this person, all right, and I'm not saying that the individual comprehension level is like substandard. Sometimes there are individuals that you have to show them, you have to tell them, and then you have to have it all written out so they can use or have a reference, okay? And then you must do a follow-up to make sure they understand it. And then once it sinks into their head what is going on and how they're going to resolve the issue, then they can improve themselves by continuing to read information, research information, stay focused on what's supposed to be going on, how to prioritize things that's set in front of them. Sometimes they have to break things down into smaller parts. Okay, some people just can't process big chunks of information. I'm like that. Okay, I look at the big picture. And I was talking to this computer engineer, when I was working for this big company, and the person stated to me that they really didn't know what I was talking about, right? Because since I knew a lot about information technology, and I had been a programmer for a lot of years, and I knew the analytics, and I knew how to analyze different things and how things needed to be. So when I'm talking to her, and she had a master's, right, in computer science, and she just couldn't digest what I'm saying because she didn't have the experience working with multiple platforms, multiple organizations. She didn't have that type of experience working with multiple team members, being on multiple projects. So what happened is that she said to me, you know what? This is the same thing my husband does to me. He looks at things at such a level that it confuses me. And you have to, as a business professional, you must understand your experience in what you're doing. Do not think that the information that you're delivering to your new team, they totally understand what's going on in your mind. That's why you have to break things down in little small parts, right? And those ones who get it, then what you can do, basically, you can just say, okay, you're good. You understand what I'm saying. So let's move on. Okay? So, the fourth thing is rewards and reassignments for team members for either meeting or exceeding goals, performance contained, and who continue short of meeting goals, set over a period of time for all project team members. Rewards can be basically gift cards, okay? It can be like, gift cards is best, right? Gift cards. I wouldn't monetary thing at a young business age. I wouldn't try to overdo it because everyone think they're going to get that. I think like a $25 gift card, for meeting expectations. It depends on how big the project is. It could be $100. So you have to keep it in. You have to keep it in a sync of what is going on in their efforts, because if you working on a multifaceted project and it's multiple levels and it took 3 or 4 or 5 months, something like that, and you give it, after they met expectations and they pushed on and they closed the project and did the deliverables and everything like that, and you give them $25, they're gonna like, what is this? But you have to give them something, but you have to make it simple, right? Know what I'm talking about? Because they must have a sense of self-pride. You understand? Rewards is great, right? But overdoing rewards will cause you to have a burden as a new business leader, because everyone would expect that. They say, well, you gave this person $100 and I did more than that, and the contract you did was worth $20,000, right? So I think I should at least get 500 or 1,000. No, okay. That's why you need to list a lot of rewards out, right? What they're gonna get for this. You have to break everything down, okay? Because if you don't set the standards and the rules, the regulations for rewards, everything like that, for projects, everything like that, people are going to expect things from you that has not been written down. So they're going to try to create their own, right? To prevent this, you can always modify things, all right, do extra, but you must have a platform of what you will give this person if project deadlines are met on time and deliverables are given to the client and signed off. Okay? All right. This is your man, Nicholas Shephard of the Shephard Family Enterprise, LLC, Business Administration, Information System Consultants. Thank you for joining us, and push like and share this video and tell some of your friends or business associates that I'm here to service your business.